Now that you know more advanced techniques such as time boxing, well, checklists may seem too simple or even a little bit dumb. But here's the thing though, sometimes there's power in simplicity and it's harder to do less. In this video, I'm going to explain that there are two checklists, two types of checklists, and I'm also going to explain how you can implement them into your planning system. The first type of checklist is the one that you use for groceries. It's the thing that you do to remind yourself about things you shouldn't forget. It's also one of those things that you do when you have a brain dump, just remember to do all of those things. The problem is that it's quite easy for you to just, write way too much stuff. The second type is the one that comes from processes. It's when you make templates for something. It's a process. First do A, then do B, then do C, and don't forget these steps for each of those parts. This second type is the one that we're going to discuss first. This type 2 of checklists is widely used from pilots to doctors. And if those smart people are using them, well, we should probably pay attention to this strategy as well. Think of this. When I make the videos that you're watching right now, there's a process behind it. First, I have the idea, then I go do research, then I go do the outline, and then I script it, and then I go into production, which means, camera 1, camera 2, lighting. What am I doing? I gotta make sure that all of these steps are completed in order for us to get the final result to be like the one you're seeing. If I didn't have this type of process in this checklist, either 1, you wouldn't get the video that you're seeing right now, or 2, the results would be very inconsistent. When I'm making this type of checklist, I make each step a box, and I cannot go into the next step unless I check the box above. So for yourself, you can do checklists like this whenever you're having processes that repeat themselves. The cool thing is that as you realize that these processes repeat themselves, you're gonna analyze the process and you're gonna find for ways to improve it. So maybe you're gonna find parts of it that can be removed or combined to avoid errors. So that's the power of this type of checklist. And also on a work level, think of all the many things that you do throughout your day that are part of a process. What if you had a checklist, a template of how to do the thing that you do? Well, maybe your colleagues will benefit from it. Maybe the person coming after you, the person you're going to train, is going to benefit from that. That's the power of this type of checklist. Now to the type 1. Well, I don't need to teach you how to do a list for groceries, but I should probably remind you that you got to be careful, because when you're doing a brain dump, it's easy to write way too many things. My suggestion? Do the following. Add everything that you feel like you may possibly forget. But before you act upon this list, go through it and see if everything there is actually necessary, because there's a big chance that you're going to be able to cut them out. And really, what's as satisfying as checking a box? Well, it's realizing that you don't need a box at all. So how do you implement this checklist in your daily life? Obviously, type 1, groceries list, brain dump, that's easy enough. On the second type, I use it for processes. If I'm coding something, there's a part A, there's a part B, there's a part C, and maybe there's the unsung videos, there's the outline, there's a script, and there is the production, there's the post-production, and so and so. So my to-do list is really about 4 to 10 things that I keep on my planner, and then all the brain dump goes under, because those 4 to 10 things are things that I need to do this week. All the other stuff, either I don't worry about it now, or I may end up not even worrying about it later on, but they're not as urgent. You know how I said that sometimes it's harder to do less? One of my favorite books is called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And I remember the first time I read it and how it made me feel like I needed to be very, very intentional with the things that I was doing. The very rough summary of that book is, if everything is essential, nothing is essential. Right? So you got to be able to cut it down, to trim it out, to realize what is truly essential. And usually, by the Pareto principle, only the essential things are the ones that drive results. Again, this is a book that I highly, highly recommend. It's hard to do less. It's hard to be concise. It's hard to be precise. So that's why I say maybe this is something you want to implement into your system. Remember, your system is there to make you focus on your tasks, not to focus on the system itself. So don't get caught up in how am I going to keep track of all of this and what's going to be the perfect productivity system, but rather think, dude, I need to get this thing done. Cool? Cool. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's go to the next video.